No, really excited about the crowd today, and I know I said 20,000. I think we ended up with 15,000. So you're not just told our players, now we're taking the step to get this program headed back in the right direction. Because you see the support that we're getting from the outside, the fan support, and this community wants a winner. So we continue to take the steps we need to take and to continue to improve, then we're going to get this program back to where it needs to be. And you look at us today, you know, you go down early, it scared me to death when we lost Cupper and then we lose Mac, but I think both of those guys are going to be back and we're going to be fine, especially when we start the fall season. But we've been able to escape injuries this spring because we hadn't had many injuries at all, and the guys at the key positions have been able to practice and they get better. And you look at us offensively, Teddy Bridgewater continues to improve. He made some really outstanding throws out there today. And I said this, and I believe this, in order for us to be an outstanding football team, we have to be able to run the football. And the way we run the football, you have to play physical, and we were able to run the ball. You look at Sonoris Perry, look at the run, Dominique Brown. We have the backs with Corbin Lamb, Jeremy Wright. We have the backs that are physical enough to run behind their pads now and to get positive yardage. But that has to happen in order for it, because what happens when you run the football is going to, the strength of your team is going to be about toughness, and it's going to make the defense tougher because now they have to stop the run. And on offense, they have to be challenged to go run the ball. And we're good enough where we can be play action team where you can get Teddy in the open field and he can make the throws where we can move the chains. Defensively, I spotted the team 21 points because I just wanted to see if we can come back and our defense could hold them. I think they ended up giving up 3 points, which says a lot about their defense. But you have a lot of starters coming back on our defense. They should play like that. You look up front with Brooks, you look at Brandon Dunn, you look at B.J. DeBose, you look at Malden, you look at Mount. You have guys that can make plays. You have guys that can rush the passer. Malden, he showed up, a million times today. You watched him run around, and he made some plays. But he's so athletic, and he's fast, and he's physical, and he can get off blocks, and he can run to the ball. And then you look at us in the secondary. You return all your starters with Bouchel, at the one corner position, then with Johnson at the other. Then you look at Akeem Smith, and you look at Pryor. You have 4 starters returning in your secondary. And then in the middle, always tell Preston Brown this. If you're going to be an outstanding player, and if you're going to be leader of this defense, your middle linebacker has got to be the guy. And Preston can be that guy. Look at what Dexter did last season, and now Preston has an opportunity to go do it. Then you have Daniel Brown, who's a starter coming back, and then you have Mount as the outside linebacker. So you feel pretty good at what you have. Now it's all about now where we're going to take this team. You have the summer to get ready. They have a couple of weeks to finish up classes, and then we get them back here this summer. Then we'll be able to build that football team and just watch how we can develop as a team. And we had to develop as a team. And I told our guys now this, we have 9 seniors. When you look at Cup, you look at Stein, you look at Andrell Smith, look at Daniel Brown. Those guys have been in this program. So now it's up to the young guys for the leadership. It's got to come from the young guys also. Maybe a Teddy, maybe a Preston Brown. Who's it going to come from? But we're going to need everyone as a football team to take this program and get it going. And this could be a special group. That's all about work. And I said it the other day, a lot's going to be said about this team. A lot's going to be written about this team. Now, are we going to be mature enough to handle all the writing out there, the publication of what's going to be said? Last year we were picked last. We ended up in a 3-way tie for first. This year we're going to be picked first or second or wherever. So now we're going to see if we can work as a team, and then can we go play each week and be a consistent team every week, and we have a chance, and we'll see. But it's like we have a lot of work to do, and it is, and we need to improve. We have to go get better. We had too many false starts out there today on offense. I think it may have been 8 to 10. That's way too many for our offense because we're not good enough to go have a false start and get behind the chains. And it's 1st and 10, now it's 1st and 15, or 2nd and 5, and it's 2nd and 10. We're not a good enough football team. We just can't make those mistakes. So it has to be positive yardage, and we don't ever want to get behind the chain. And defensively, we had to dictate the flow of the game where we need to bring pressure. We need to keep pressure on people, and we have to be able to play man coverage. And then the kicking game, you see Wallace, he hit a big kick out there today. What we needed. There was no pressure coming. But it's going to be key now when the pressure comes. Can he stand out there and go bang the ball and hit those big field goals? But this team, like I said, we have a lot of work to do. You are 3 years into it now. No one, no one would expect us to be where we are right now. No one expected that. And I tell our coaching staff all the time, it's just an attribute to those guys how hard they worked to get this program headed back to where it was. People said you couldn't get it done. Now we'll see what we can do it. And just as a coaching staff, can we provide it leadership also, and can we head it in the right direction?
Charlie, you talked about wanting to establish the run, but are you a lot more confident in Teddy this year? Like, if you are by a chance down 21 points at one point, that passing game and Teddy can get it going?
You would like to think so, because you look at outside, you have Devontae who can win one-on-one. You have Andrell Smith who can win one-on-one. Copeland has had a really outstanding spring. But when you're able to run the football, it doesn't make you one-dimensional. And what you have to be able to do is not become, because all the time on defense, we always say this, let's make a team one-dimensional. Let's stop the run and force them to throw the ball, because we feel like now if we force them to throw the ball, then something bad's going to happen. Either we're going to go get a sack, or either we're going to go get an interception, or we're going to tip a ball. Something bad will happen if we can force them to throw the football. So I know Teddy is good enough to do that, but you still like to be balanced, and it's all about balance with your run and pass.
Teddy, excuse me, Coach, you talked about this being a special group. They've already got a Big East championship, so how do you define special for this bunch of players?
Well, even with us winning a Big East championship last year, we get into a game where you have a chance to really solidify it, and you go get beat here at home by Pittsburgh. And so it's all about now, guys. Yeah, we got there last year, but we could have done so much better than what we did. And so now let's build on that. You look at it and say, hey, we're not comfortable being 7-6 every year. Let's erase some of those losses. And we've had 12 losses in 2 years, and the average margin of loss is 7.3 points. And so, okay, offensively, go get a score, defense, stop them, and then you never know what could have happened in those games.
From a national scale, though, Charlie, are you talking about a team that can push for a BCS game, a national championship? How special are you talking about with this bunch? Well,
what you like to do in the beginning is you look at that schedule and say, listen, you get beat at home by FIU, then you get beat by Marshall, and then you say, guys, those are games that you just, and not to take anything away from those programs, but those are games that we need to go win, especially when they're at home. Now you're at home, you get to open up at home with your first 3 games. And we haven't played very well at home, so how can we get past that cloud that's sitting here at home? But we can go on the road and play so well. Then you get here at home, and it's just more where I don't know if we get more relaxed or what it is, where we're thinking, oh, we're just going to roll out there and go win. But somehow we have got to get past that cloud and go play very well at home, and then maybe that can carry on the road for us.
Coach, compared to some of the other quarterbacks that you've seen, Teddy's development from freshman to sophomore year, how does that compare?
What he continues to do is just get better, and he wants. And the thing about him, he's so easy to coach. And a lot of times when guys have had success so early, they get so full of themselves that they don't want to listen. Whereas with Teddy, he's in the film room. And what's special is to watch him and Stein work together. There's no egos there. And for Teddy to have the success he had, and then there's Stein who's still sitting there, and watch those 2 guys work, it's amazing. But Teddy he can still develop, but he can get better, and it's all about development. But he wants to be coached. Where a lot of guys feel like they have all the answers. We have some guys like that now who think they have all the answers, and they don't want to listen to anyone.
Where could he still improve at this point?
Well, even just managing the offense, picking up like today, I don't know how many bad throws he made, but he had one he should have never forced out in the flat. And if that's a good player, that ball may be picked for 6 going the other way. No. But he's just, just finding the receivers and what he does know. Sometimes at practice he'll make a throw, and the receiver's nowhere to be found. Then here comes a receiver making that catch where he just knows, Coach, that's where he's supposed to be. So I just let the ball go, and like the throw he made in the South Florida game last year. He throws that ball, but it's room for improvement for him.
You talk about expectations. Do you anticipate this team being picked as the team to beat in the Big East?
Well, but what a lot of people have said, Rick, it says. I just know this, but because of what we have coming back, a lot of people think we should be picked, but it's all about us too, just making sure that we stay within ourselves too, and just know just know where our weaknesses and our strengths and where we can go get better, and not worry about what everyone says. Because I have there's a sign sitting out there on that door that where Last year, I think we were picked like 90th in the country with all the, so I leave that up, so I want them to see that every day. So you guys, if you want this program, just look at that, look where you were and what everyone has said, so let's not buy into it. Let's just continue to work and just let's speak within this room, let's speak by the way we play.
Scott Radcliffe has 9 catches. Is this another welter, or is this just another spring game?
No, I tell you what, Rad, in the position he plays, he's going to get a lot of catches, but he catches the ball and he moves the chain. And the thing about him is that he makes the tough catches. And it's not about him. He don't have to run away from anybody, just get open. And it's with him, where he's placed is a lot of matchup. So it's him on a linebacker or it's him on the nickelbacker. So you feel like we can win that battle, and that's where the ball, and it's an easy throw for the quarterback because he's an inside receiver, so he can just see the lanes open up for him.
Last year it seemed like cornerback was a position where you guys were never totally satisfied with the level that they were playing. How confident are you in the guys this year?
Well, you like to think, since you have the 2 stars back with Buechele and Andrew, and then T. Floyd coming along, and Gaines haven't even been cleared yet, but he practices, but he just can play just because with his injury, we didn't want to put him out there and get him injured before the season ever gets started. But you feel like you have 4 guys that can play at that position. And I just look at this whole football team, and some of you have seen it, you've been here and you've seen us. It's just like, we're just like a totally different team. I mean, last year we were just trying to get the snap. I mean, we could, practices were so bad. I'm just saying, oh my God, can we just get the snap and just run a play? And now you feel like you can just function. You feel like you can function as a team. You know, even going out there today, it's like, wow, it's just like a breath of fresh air that you look like you're finally beginning to look like a football team. You know, some positions we have to get better at, but you're beginning to finally look like something.
Last year too, my favorite term he used was fake juice. Do you think that will ever be a problem with this team? Well,
you'd like to think it would be, but what do you think now within your program, even with the seniors that you have now? They're your this is your program. You know, a lot of times, you know, because I look at it, and Stein and Cup and Andrell and them have been here 3 years now, so they're used to the coaches. They know what we expect of them, and so the expectation is there, and those guys all understand it. So you would like to think there's no fake juice. And you notice it right off. Guys, and I tell them all the time, guys, I know right away when it's fake juice and when it's real. Because a lot of times if the game is right, nothing is hardly said. But when you run out there and you're not ready to play and everybody's trying to bounce around, and I said all I had to do is look at a certain position. I can tell you right now if it's fake juice or not. And a lot of times it starts with the defensive line. I can look at that group of guys and tell you if we're ready to go play or not.
Where's the level of comfort right now with Sean Watson, offensive coordinator, of the game he called today?
Oh, I've always been comfortable with Watts, even when he started calling the plays last year, because it's, you know, you look at it, it's a balanced attack. You know, it's all about running the football, and that's what I like to see is run the ball. And then Teddy has developed so much under him, and he's going to continue to develop. But we'll be able to move the football. Now it's just defensively, can we go stop him?
Is your preference to go with a committee of guys at running back, or would you like to see one guy sort of emerge?
I like to see one guy kind of emerge, but you look at the way the guys, if you were to take spring ball right now, I would tell you that Sonoris Perry probably had the best spring. And if you watch him run, he runs so hard, he runs behind his pad. And Dominique Brown, and it's not to take anything from Dominique, Jeremy, and Corbin Lamb, but you have 4 guys there, and it's like, you know, you're sitting with a good group of running backs. And you said, you know, something we should, you know, just keep running these guys in and out, give them some plays, and let's see what. But you like one guy to set in there because it's all about them being consistent where they get enough touches. And now if I get enough touches, if I get 20 touches, maybe I'll break 1 or 2. You know, it's like Bilal. I said, you know, those guys may start off slow just like he did. And then as that game wore on, you know, he got stronger and stronger and stronger. That's what you like to see.
At the end of last year, you talked about the potential of Devontae Parker grow into his body. Have you seen that progression?
Oh, he's continuing. I mean, you watch that catch today, he makes another catch. But, you know, you watch him, and he's gotten so much bigger and stronger, and it has helped him. And now for him, it's all about just reading the coverages and just understanding the whole package of the defense. And once that happens, then he really can take off and explode. And he's getting it. But you know, it's like young guys. when you get those young receivers in, they're just like young defensive backs, they don't really see the whole picture, you know. They just so worried about, okay, I just have to worry about what I have to do. No, you have to know what everything else is happening around you that makes you a better football player. Just don't only understand your position, know what the guy inside is doing so he can help you out with your routes or you can understand the coverage.
You said he gets it. Is that a term you guys use, it?
Well, it's not so, well, you like to say it, but you just make sure that you understand what's going on.
Your coaching staff has now been together for all 3 years, pretty
Right.
much. Are you guys looking at each other and going, we could do some big things this year? Are you guys excited?
Well, just because you've been able to stay together, and so it's all about continuity, and now that, and when you look at a coaching staff, where guys now know the personality of the other guys, so now you don't have to walk in. If a guy says something, he doesn't have to worry about this guy, you know, getting his ego busted or whatever. But it's no egos. I tell them all the time, guys, there's no egos around here. So, you know, check your ego at the door. If someone want to ask you a question, just answer it. Now, we want to discuss it, we'll discuss it, so you have a chance to defend how you feel, and this guy can say what he says. But the coaching staff has been together, and it's just been fun to watch how guys have really worked. So they are. So now guys understand the personalities of one another, and that's what it is. Because I've been on staffs where you walk in and you can't say something because you think this guy is going to get offended, and then an argument starts. But there's no arguing going on here. I mean, if a guy says something, he says it. If you don't like it, it's too bad. Well, he has an opinion.
All right, guys.
Okay, thank you.